Jesus, when he's saying turn the other cheek, is essentially saying whenever bad shit, well, he probably wouldn't say shit. Well,
I imagine Jesus probably could say shit. Yeah,
he was a human.
There's
right?
a lot of times where I'm pretty sure this dude was cussing, man.
Yeah,
what the fuck, man?
Yeah, that would have been a lot.
Yeah,
he
there's a lot he had to deal with.
Okay, so yeah,
a lot of people in the Bible was cussing like shit, man.
So bad shit happens, and instead of continuing to stare that direction, you turn the other way. Does that sound?
Yeah.
You describe the pivot as blend as quote unquote when you are knocked. Think about turn the other cheek when you are hit.
Yeah.
You literally said knocked, which is like being, you see what do you get the correlation I'm making?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I thought it was because it applies to the literal definition of, yes, if someone slaps you, instead of staring at them and slapping them back, you turn the other cheek the peaceful way.
Yeah.
If life slaps you, if contrast happens, if something bad happens, something negative, something lower vibrational, something you don't want, instead of staring at it and attacking it back, turn the other cheek, pivot and blend, and go the other direction. What do you think about that? Topic of discussion.
You know what I immediately thought of? It's going to sound crazy when I bring it up. Jumping out of a window.
Okay.
Let's say a 2 or 3 story building. I used to jump out of trees when I was a kid. Lots of fun. One of the things that I learned, and I have talked to other people about it, is that when you're, doing that, the one thing you do not want to do is clench up. You don't want to stay too rock steady in where you are.
Like when a drunk person falls,
yeah,
how they get hurt less.
Yeah, because you want to be able to, you almost want to let your body go limp, and that's how you'll be able to acclimate yourself to the thing and actually survive and stuff like that. Wow. So when I think slapping a cheek, literally my brain thinks of someone slapping you, and if you try to stare too hard at them, you could end up hurting your neck. Yep. You could end up but if you just kind of go with it,
no resistance,
let
complete
your entire
surrender.
body kind of let it kind of move the way it goes, you can be able to orient yourself a whole lot better and actually be able to fight that problem back, to be honest with you.
But that's the opposite of what he's saying, turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
Because it's fighting the problem back is when we get in trouble. Right? Your relatives having this impression that at a certain age we just give up, right? Mm-hmm. Fighting the problem back is you're not going to go tell them off and try to make them change. You're going to pivot and blend, like you said, and rise going the other direction. Just taking care of yourself and taking the matter into your hands.
Well, I was literally thinking about a fight, literally, but
but I just mean because the definition here is the opposite, that we aren't fighting back, that we are turning the other cheek. That's at the core of the metaphor, if that makes sense.
And you see, in my brain, the way when I think about the pivot and blend, we're going a certain way because that's a direction we want to go. So when you get slapped a certain way, that's not saying that I still don't want to go get that thing. I just got to go somewhere else and go and find another way around it. So that's when I say fighting back, that's where I'm just oh no, I'm going to get there. You've slapped me, I can't go that way. Cool. You've slapped me, I can't go that way. Cool. And so the pivoting and blending is just this is where I got knocked to. Okay, but I'm still trying to get to that particular place. I think about that a lot with us. We know what the hell we're trying to accomplish. How many times have we got slapped and had to turn the other cheek, but we came right back because whatever that problem was the one we were trying to solve. So when I think pivot and blend too, I don't think that means leave it alone. It means reorient yourself.
Right.
It means to. But I don't mean that thing don't mean anything to me anymore.
No. And I like this. So I think maybe where the difference is if we're considering it from a broad perspective or a smaller perspective. So because I think we're saying the same thing. Okay. It just depends where the perspective is. Okay. And broad perspective is always source's perspective, the broadest. So I like that. So yeah, I'm basically saying pivot and blend to me has always meant George Costanza's just do the opposite, just try something different, right? So I'm going in this direction, that didn't work, so let's turn the other cheek and go in another direction. But it doesn't, so but it doesn't mean that we lose sight of the end all thing. So for example, like we applied for a certain kitchen to work out of for Wholism. When we went there, the rent was too high. So we pivoted and blended by staying open and ended up reaching out to a community member who lets us work in their kitchen on the days they're closed for free.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like we went in a totally different direction, which was what I was saying, but we also stayed accomplished with our goal of getting production complete, which is what you were saying.
Yeah,
so it's like
I think
we were both
saying the same
thing, but we were looking at different
perspectives.
And isn't that so big about communication, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's why we're really good, because like we can be very patient, and I think that like that might speak. And stop me if I'm wrong, but like that might also speak to like our spirits as well. Like I am just someone who's just like, what the fuck? Let's go fight. And so like, but you're a whole, which tends to be great, because as fiery as you can be, like you can also be a little bit more like really calm with us sometimes. And like, right, like that kitchen scenario, I was ready to lose it, and that was it for me. But like your calming energy was just like, no, like we are gonna do this. Like I'm just like, let's just fucking fuck, and like.
And see, for me, that would be fighting back, right? Fuck. That's, but the pivot and blend is, okay, let's keep our eyes open, turn a different direction.
Yeah, so
right?
that's
Which
interesting.
Is what Jesus, like, I just think that is such a cool concept to think of this on a level of as well, like a physical fight, turn the other cheek, be peaceful, yes. And then this concept of the broader perspective of life. Like, if something's not working, go in a different direction, you know? And then I will say, though, overall, sometimes there is a bigger pivot and blend that our higher power puts us on that we really aren't meant to fight back of. And because you bring to mind my situation with starting a company, being with it almost 10 years, and going through a corporate divorce. And I did every single thing to keep that company because I thought that was what I was meant to do, because it made sense. It seemed best for the employees, best for the pets, best for overall. So I thought, of course, God, higher power, source would want what I consider to be quote unquote best, right? Yeah. So I kept fighting back with my overall. I was doing different pivot and blends within, but because I still had my eyes on a pivot and blend that I needed to turn the other cheek on, I kept getting fucking smashed in the face. And it was really hard because I never turned the other cheeks. Literally, someone had to come by and turn my neck the other direction. Was the only way that ended. But now I have pivoted and blended going a completely different way, and it has led me to do things I'd never even heard of, which are now my companies are Wholism, energy healing, and writing a book based on all the things I learned during that time. So I do think there is sometimes a time for turning, completely turning the cheek. I just think it's great to think of that advice coming from Jesus, like pivot and blend, y'all.
Yeah, pivot and blend.
Quote
like
unquote,
so many
Jesus.
things. Like, you know what's crazy? Like as you're saying that, there's something that in me that says like God was looking at you fight and going, this girl has the fighting spirit, and like your higher power was just so proud of you for not quitting. But then, like your higher power was just like, but that's enough. This is not for you.
Right.
And it reminds me of when I was donating plasma, really in a bad financial place. And like they always struggled pricking me with this damn thing. And they were like, you got rolling veins. And I was like, hey man, I need y'all to do something about this, man. Like are you drinking enough water? Yeah, motherfucker. I was drinking a gallon before I came in here. And like, it was awful. And it was what I needed to be able to get me through. I did not want to pivot and blend that way, by the way. That was really pissing me off. But I'll never forget the last day that I did that. It was as if my higher power really shut it off. I'm telling you. Because they tried to prick me again, and they just kept missing the vein over and over. And I was just like, y'all got to do something, man. And so like, then I lied to you not. My right arm in the pit of the elbow swole up to where they couldn't prick it anymore.
Whoa.
So then they went to the left arm and they kept trying to do it, and it was doing the same thing. And eventually my left arm swole up to where they couldn't prick it anymore.
And
like they were just like, well, we can't really do anything, but like it's not your fault. So like, you'll still get the money and stuff like that, but you can go ahead and go and stuff like that. You don't have to do all this different stuff. And as I was walking out, I never forget a voice, like, as I was really connected to my higher power, just saying, that's enough.
Wow.
Like, that's enough.
Wow.
You're done here. I was about to start at UNC, like I think like the following week. And so like in that moment, yeah, like something did physically have to, but like I really do believe my higher power was so grateful that I was doing what it took to, you know, to basically keep myself around until, you know,
that you have a fighter spirit. Like
Yeah.
that you are. Maybe what if we change that to almost like a warrior spirit?
Warrior spirit.
Because fight implies to me like resistance.
Resistance, yeah.
Right?
A warrior spirit.
So
of just
a warrior
like,
spirit. Like the I will rise spirit.
yeah.
That's what we were talking about.
It was
yeah.
just like I needed the money. I needed whatever I needed. But then my higher power was just like, that's enough. Like you're going to get it you don't have to keep going through this pain anymore because this has been hurting you. It had for months, for like a month, it was hurting me. Like for a really long time, man. Like, and they struggled pricking me. Like they struggled getting blood. I was there for a really long time, and I was so low in those moments. I just felt like a loser. It was awful, and so like that warrior spirit in me was gonna keep going. I got to do what I got to do, but eventually there comes this point where the higher power is just like, that's enough. And so then I pivoted and blended and gone like, I've officially come to the end of this wall, but I was doing what I needed to do to get there until, and that's what kind of like reminds me a little bit of like, even with your story or like even this pivot and blend thing of just like, I can't just, even though this may hurt, this may suck, like I got to make sure I guess maybe it's the athlete in me, maybe it's the warrior in me. I got to make sure I put in my best effort so I can make sure that I know that when I blend and go somewhere else, that I truly exhausted everything. That like I really did want this to work. That's what made me walk away from my last relationship. I knew that I put in everything that I could to try to keep that thing together. And even though it sucked to be able to walk away, at least in this perspective now, I can sit back and go like, I did everything that I could. And it was just, I had to walk away. I had to pivot and blend. That hurt. I wanted that really bad. I don't know. Maybe it is that warrior spirit in me, and there's just something about it that keeps me alive. Like to know that I won't go down easy. Like you can slap me, but I'm gonna get back up. You know, everything's gonna be all right. Just like at the end of the Kendrick Lamar that thing. Like, and when I wake up, just know that you in fucking trouble. And like I have been knocked down a lot, but there's so many broad perspectives to this pivot and blend thing. Like it could literally mean the fight thing. It could mean I get smacked this other way, and like look, maybe if my head turns, I'm just like, oh, I didn't know that was even an option over there.
Right.
It could mean I've come to the brick wall, and I got to turn around and do something completely different with my life. What the fuck? Since when did I think I was going to have a nut milk company business? The fuck happened? And so like, I never would have guessed that. Never would have guessed I'd be doing half of this shit, but I just kind of blended with that one. And I was like, this feels right. I don't understand that one. But how in the hell did it just go so smooth with us, you know? And like, had I not pivoted and blended with my last relationship, probably never would have asked you about doing this together.
Right. And if I wasn't in such a bad place, I wouldn't have had the stomach issues that caused me to need to eat the healthy thing that you prepared. Right?
So many
And I wouldn't
things.
have been so low that you needed to bring it over because you had to tell me that I had a friend. That was really important to hear.
Yeah.